Some people have observed that some other people sometimes treat their diets as if they were religions. Well, the world's biggest online keto community might be being run like a cult. I recently directly experienced them actively suppressing a post of mine talking about how getting off of the keto diet has had tremendous health benefits to me. But before I get into that, a brief aside. I started this YouTube channel close to a year ago. A big inspiration for this is that I'm a rather extreme type A personality, and so I always want to be achieving something. Now, prior to getting this channel going, my primary area of type A fixation was nutrition and fitness. But last July, I started feeling unwell, and it was unrelenting. I could no longer exercise at all hard and was more prone to fatigue, soreness, and a whole lot of irritability. I thought it was long COVID, as I'd had COVID before, and it's the only condition that I'd ever encountered that came with a long tail of recovery. At the time of the onset of my symptoms, I had been on the keto diet for 3 years, just about. The diet had worked out very well for me up until that point, and so it never occurred to me that I should suspect it as being a possible reason for why I was feeling unwell. Anyhow, because I'm very happy with where I'm at professionally, that is, there's no promotion that I want or wanted at the time, I needed a new outlet for my ambition. And so I started making videos here last August. Because of my ongoing health issues, I recently had my blood panels rechecked. My cholesterol was well above the normal range, and my triglycerides were absolutely off the charts, 3 times the upper end of the normal range. Now, for all I know, the triglycerides thing could be less of an issue than it would appear. The keto diet, unlike most other diets, is one wherein your body uses fat as its primary energy source. So maybe it makes sense that there's more fat in one's blood when they're on keto than on a more standard American diet. But I was tired of not being able to work out hard, and I wanted to at least know that I had taken every reasonable step towards healing myself so that I wouldn't have to live wondering, what if I had done this or done that? And so as such, I switched from the keto diet to the Mediterranean diet. I also significantly reduced my alcohol consumption and switched from French press coffee to drip coffee, as I'd learned that French press coffee poses health risks that drip coffee does not, and it can drive up your cholesterol and so forth. Within a week of making these 3 changes, I started feeling better, and my workout performance has been improving continuously ever since. Like, it's incredible. Like, I feel like I have my life back. It's utterly fantastic. And so, simply out of a sense of moral duty, I posted my story on the same subreddit that I had been to and commented on many times before over my nearly 4 years on the keto diet, or keto. So Keto is a subreddit with 3.3 million members. And so I figure it's probably the world's biggest online keto community. I could be wrong, but I doubt it. Its introductory blurb reads, "The ketogenic diet is a low carbohydrate method of eating. Keto is a place to share thoughts, ideas, benefits, and experiences around eating within a ketogenic lifestyle, helping people with diabetes, epilepsy, autoimmune disorders, acid reflux, inflammation, hormonal imbalances, and a number of other issues every day." So here's what I wrote. I titled my post, "A Cautionary Keto Tale." And as you can see, the post is removed. That's the point of this video. But let's see what I wrote. "Hi all, I wanted to share my personal story as I think it could be helpful to others. I went on keto just under 4 years ago. For the first 3 years, it worked out excellently for me. I was shredded, body fat percentage at 4.2. Not only did I lose every bit of fat that I could never lose before, those stubborn last pounds, I also lost fat that I didn't even know was fat. It was incredible. And through targeted keto, I did great high intensity workouts. Last July, however, I started feeling crappy. I was doing less well in my workouts and was showing lots of signs of overtraining, things like irritability, general and localized fatigue, weakness, and so forth. Even though I had tested negative for COVID twice, both tests being well past their expiration date, however, and not a single person that I had been around lately had gotten COVID, I thought it was COVID because I've had it before, and it's the only thing that I've ever had that had a long tail of recovery. I figured I was on this long tail. For over 10 months, this continued. Just me doing a workout 1/3 as intense as a normal workout for me would leave me irritable, tired, and so forth for days. I got blood testing done twice during this period. The first time my cholesterol was above the standard range and my triglycerides were even higher. Correction, I look back, the first time what I said just now about the cholesterol was true, my triglycerides were actually still in the normal range. And so I misremembered that. Anyhow, proceeding. As a result of this, I reduced my red meat intake by about 30%. A few months later, I got a second blood test. Incredibly, my cholesterol and triglycerides were even higher. The latter was off the charts. Because of these findings and my desire to leave no stone left unturned in terms of trying to get myself healed, I made a few changes. I stopped keto and went on the Mediterranean diet. That's number one. Two, I reduced my alcohol consumption. Ordinarily, I would have 2.5 or so drinks a night from Sunday through Wednesday, 3.5 on Thursday, and anywhere from like 3 to 4.5 or so on Friday. And I said Sunday, but I meant to say Saturday. I cut this down to no alcohol at all Sunday through Thursday and 2 to 4 drinks Friday and Saturday. I also switched from having a lot of French press coffee each day to having a lot of regular drip coffee. So the reason I did this was my doctor let me know about the risks posed by French press that were not posed by, just more regular coffee. I did some research online and it seemed to check out. So I included that in the changes that I made. Anyhow, back to the post I made. My health is rebounding. So I said I meant to say every week I'm stepping up my workouts compared to the last week. In terms of workload, I'd say that I'm about 65-70% of my baseline, like as in what I was doing before I started feeling unwell. In terms of performance level, probably about the same. And I'm not paying the multi-day post-workout price that I'd been paying for the last 10 months. So, irritability, fatigue, all that kind of stuff. I believe that stopping keto and going on to the Mediterranean diet was the biggest factor. I don't know for sure, but it's my hunch. I did some reading and found that some people are finding that keto should not be continued for prolonged periods due to things like surging cholesterol and triglycerides. My guess is that I won't be getting back down to 4.2% body fat, but I'm feeling and training way better. My hope is to break my pre-episode records by fall. So that's what I wrote. And then you can see here, this thread has been locked by moderators of our keto. New comments cannot be posted. Here's another comment from the moderators. Your post has been removed for violating our keto rules. Rule number 2, stay on topic. Off-topic posts include cheat posts, posts about other diets, and others that are not eating keto, farewell posts, and posts asking how to stop keto and resume a normal diet, so forth. Here's another comment. This was a moderator comment. It was automatic. As a bot. It sounds like you're a little confused about how to measure your macros. And so it's basically so here's what's happening here is I made a critical post about keto, or at least, you know what I mean, right? And they had a pre-programmed response to basically say, you're probably doing it wrong. And which is fair, actually. The keto diet is very easy to do wrong. And then when you do it wrong, it doesn't tend to go well. So fair enough. But this is it's kind of culty. It's kind of like I used to follow the big Scientology controversy, and one of the big things there was, the tech is perfect. The Scientology's ideas are perfect. So if they're not working for you, the problem isn't the tech, the problem is you. So that kind of, it perked my ears up. Anyhow, so that was my first post, and it got taken down. So within a day or two of that, probably the next day, I was a little concerned, and so I made a second post. My keto story was taken down. Is this sub being run as a community or a cult? I wrote. And of course, within a few hours, maybe within an hour probably, it was taken down. Sorry, this post has been removed by the moderators of our keto. Post removed for various reasons, keeping the community safe, civil, and so forth, true to their purpose and the like. Anyhow, here's what I wrote that was taken down in under an hour. Yesterday, I posted my personal story of being on keto for several years straight. It had gone very well for me for nearly 3 years, but then my health started taking a significant hit. I had thought it was long COVID, but after 10 months of not being able to exercise hard, of often being irritable, etc., I tried to pull out all the stops. I switched from keto to Mediterranean diet. I cut my alcohol consumption by over 70%, and switched from French press coffee to regular. As I said in my post, I believe that keto was the biggest factor, though I can't be sure. The reason I got off keto was because of my cholesterol and triglycerides were very high. Anyhow, I posted the story yesterday to alert others. I also cited that after my health started improving immediately upon stopping keto after 3.75 years, the first 3 of which being good, I found various links online wherein people are apparently finding that keto is not a good long-term thing. My post, in which I was merely trying to be helpful, was pulled from this site as being off topic in a matter of hours. My post was as on topic as can be, which leads me to wonder, are the admins trying to run a helpful community or a cult? Let's see how long this post lasts. Again, I only posted this to be helpful. I was keto and happy for just under 3 years. Then I had a terrible year, and now I'm rebounding after making the aforementioned 3 changes. And so let's see what I got back. Welcome to our keto. And once again, it sounds like you're a little confused about how to measure your macros. So once again, when they have a pre-programmed response, when a person is posting something that the AI apparently can detect as being not totally on board with keto, it's your fault. And like as I said, it might be. It often is. It's a very easy diet to get wrong, but still kind of odd. And so I wrote, here is more evidence that this sub is being run as a cult. The mods have apparently pre-programmed a response to posts conveying negative experiences with keto. In which it is assumed that if keto isn't working for you, the problem is you. This reminds me of Scientology, wherein if you're not doing well in the program, the problem is you because the tech is perfect. Another person said cult. Anyhow, so that was the next thing. And, as I said, that was pulled down in very quickly. If I recall correctly, it was like well under an hour is all it took. And so then I responded right away to that. And this post came down within seconds. I wrote, are you allowed to post anything negative about keto or keto experiences here? And I wrote, I've had 2 posts in which I relayed negative experiences of keto after a few years of positive experiences, which I explicitly stated, and it was pulled immediately. What is up? And sorry, this post has been removed by moderators of our keto. And then this post was removed for being off topic. If you have an issue, blah, 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 stirring up drama is not permitted. Okay, so then I proceeded to message the mods. Wanted to figure out what was happening. So let me see. Okay, so here's what I wrote. So I titled the message, "Why was my post taken down?" I'm just writing to see why my cautionary tale post was taken down yesterday. It was a perfectly civil, relevant, honest, and fair and balanced post. So the reply I got, off-topic discussions, including discussions about eating diets that aren't keto, are meant to be posted in the support thread on the front page. Make sure you are familiar with the community's rules before posting. Rule 2, stay on topic. Off-topic posts include posts about other diets and others that are not eating keto, farewell posts and posts asking how to stop keto and resume a normal diet and so forth. So I read that one earlier when it was posted in the thread. And so I replied, I was talking about my experience with keto. I made a brief allusion to me switching to Mediterranean. It sounds like you guys simply don't want anything negative about keto being posted, even if it's constructive and intended to be helpful. To which the mod responded, the whole post was about you leaving keto for a different diet. This belongs in the support thread on the front page. That's why it exists. Me, I would have thought that someone being on keto and having adverse health effects and then getting off of it among making other changes would be something that other keto people would want to hear. Why would you want them not to? Why would you just shut the post down and not either relocate it or comment and tell me what to do? Tell me how to. And why would, me continuing, and why would I go to a support thread? I wasn't looking for support. I was merely trying to share with others my experiences on this diet and how I've done reading indicating that I'm not alone in having this problem. So they replied, we don't have the ability to relocate posts. Fair enough. The removal message and the community rules clearly indicate where these posts are meant to be posted. If you don't want to use the forum the way it was intended, I don't know what to tell you. Now, so I don't recall seeing the community rules in the reply to me saying go to the support thread. I don't recall that. And then they replied, because that's where off topics posts go. So I said, so a person on keto whose triglycerides are off the charts is off topic in a keto forum. They replied simply, your post was off topic. Me, incredible. And then I replied, and this was not me making a threat. This was me just giving a courtesy. Just a heads up, I'll be posting a YouTube video on this experience within the next 3 days. I gave you the chance to give a good reason, and you clearly have not. Your solution to me telling people interested in keto diet that I did great on it for a few years, but then was having adverse effects that were likely due at least in part to keto, along with sky-high triglycerides associated with probably almost entirely keto, or at least primarily, is my suspicion, was to take my post down. Not to tell me where to post it until I PM'd you. So it's not like I had to message them before they told me this, and then tell me that the place I'm supposed to put it in is in a catch-all thread where almost nobody would see it. How many other negative experiences have you guys suppressed? This is dangerously cultish. When you allow only people to share success stories or to seek help on how to do keto better, but treat stories like mine as being off topic when they're clearly not, you're representing yourself and this group in a terrible way. You are deliberately skewing the impressions you're allowing to put forth on your keto group in a way that could be leading people to do harm to themselves. Their reply was classy. I literally couldn't care less. And and then they let's see what else they did. Then I got later on a little update. So they had temporarily banned me for 25 days. You have been temporarily banned from participating in our keto. The ban will last for 25 days. Blah blah blah. I can still view stuff and so forth. And then after this conversation, you have been permanently banned from participating in our keto. And then notes from the moderator: make a video about this too. Fair enough. Good snark. Okay. So that was my experience there. And that led me to do a little bit of research, because I'm not trying to just snipe them. This is not me taking out a grudge. So I want to be fair. And so what I did was I went and looked through the Arketo sub. I went back through their recent posts and went through 19 days worth of posts. So the only reason I stopped there, my plan was to look for like 3 weeks to a month's worth. But that's all you can, like, once at 19 days, it just runs out. You can't look back further. And I also looked through about the top 100 or so top posts and the top 100 hot posts, and just to kind of see what kind of comments or posts were being allowed. So in my review of these previous posts, I did see posts that were not pulled down in which the writer discussed problems that they were having with the keto diet. And so let me go into some of the responses I got. A lot of them, they tended to fall into a few categories. So the first was early keto problems. So that is people struggling with transitioning onto the diet during the first month or so. I've seen these posts for a few years in this community, and they're common because there are a lot of mistakes, as I mentioned earlier, that a person can make as they start this diet. Too many carbs, too little fat, not supplementing with electrolytes, not eating the right sorts of foods, and taking the right sorts of supplements to minimize nutrient deficiencies and the like. They're also common because even if you do keto perfectly, it's completely normal to have an adjustment period where your body is adjusting from being primarily glucose burning to primarily fat burning. A common topic of discussion is the keto flu, which is the name for symptoms such as irritability, mental fogginess, and fatigue that can occur for a few days or a few weeks during the early adaptation phase. These sorts of posts are common, and they are greeted with open arms and lots of good advice. In fact, I think I made some of them myself early on when I was adjusting. Another category was reduced exercise tolerance. These sorts of worries are easily addressed by, for example, reminding people that it'll take their bodies some time to adjust to the diet. Another good recommendation is trying targeted keto, wherein the person will be keto pretty much all the time, with the exception of having like a big jolt of carbs before hard workouts, like dextrose, which is sugar your body processes really efficiently. Another recommendation is trying creatine. Anyhow, so like this was another comment up, and so a lot of the like there are various kinds of complaints, and they're not people saying I'm quitting keto because of this. They're seeking advice and like, how can I make this work for me? There's also, some complaints of other adverse symptoms, things like achiness, persistent hunger, despite being on a diet that is supposed to help them curb their hunger, constipation or gas, cold hands and feet, with requests for suggestions on how to mitigate them. So some of these complaints were only made by one person, others made by several. So once again, it's like they're talking about problems they're having, but they're not saying I'm leaving keto. They're like, look, like how can I get around these problems? Lack of early weight loss upon beginning the diet or plateauing in weight loss after being on it for a while. In these cases, the people posting again were looking for support and tips on how to break through the problem. So it's kind of like a religious person confiding in their pastor or whatever, just saying like my faith is flagging here, like, but I don't want to lose it. All right. So it's like there are people that are having problems, but they're not trying to leave. They're trying to stay. They're looking for help in that. Getting bored with the foods they are eating is another one. This is easily addressed by people offering all sorts of other kind of food and recipe ideas. Some complaints came with people saying that they are thinking of stopping keto, but are looking for guidance before they give it up. And most or all of the complaints, again, as I said, have been coming with solicitations for advice on how to make keto work for them. So they're having problems and they're looking for help in dealing with them. Now, they did also allow posts in which people talked about having gone off keto and dealing with negative effects. And so you're not supposed to talk about leaving keto, but they allowed people to post about leaving keto and having negative effects of it. So people talking about, I got off keto and I gained all this weight, that they had more like a return of mental health symptoms like anxiety and depression getting worse, things like that. So so you're not allowed to talk about leaving the diet unless you talk about how you left the diet and it worked out poorly for you. But there were a few exceptions of where there actually were posts putting up significantly negative things about keto and they stayed. One post was a person cautioning about going on keto if the person has Cushing's disease, which is, I think, a pretty rare disease. And so, not too much of a threat to the keto community. Complaints of disorientation, mental fogginess, and clumsiness that began 2 years into the diet, with the person wondering if a change in diet would be beneficial. Another one had a person talking about them being constipated for 10 days and having to go to the emergency room and receive an enema and then having to, be on laxatives thereafter. So yeah, that comment stayed. Another one was prolonged sleep after 2 months of keto, asking if others have experienced this and seeking advice. Another one was posting a study showing higher mortality rates on keto. And then 2 posts of people citing blood work with at least one thing, cholesterol or triglycerides being out of the normal range, though most other of the measured things in the blood test were all within normal ranges. And so the concerns represented a minority of the overall results. So how do we make sense of all this? Initially, I was responding simply to how my post was dealt with. I found it very alarming that a post talking about adverse health effects that were probably due, at least in good part, to keto, and that were resolved very quickly upon dropping keto, in addition to making some other changes. It's rather concerning that that was taken down in a keto community. Then I thought back, and I couldn't recall seeing any other posts like mine in my time in this community, which naturally led me to wonder how many other stories like mine have been and are being suppressed. Then my interaction with the moderator only set off my alarm bells further. But I wanted to be fair. So before I went casting aspersions on the mods of this community, I wanted to do some research. After sifting through many hundreds of posts in the community, I did find a handful of posts that would call my cult theory into question. I've got a few working theories as to what is going on here, both of which could be wrong. One is simply that the moderator or moderators that dealt with my situation are not representative of all of them. Some may be more tolerant than others of posts like mine. It's possible, although my guess is that they are somewhat, they probably have to deal with each other and talk about banning someone before they do it. My guess is it's not a unilateral decision. Banning is a big thing. Anyhow, but that's one possibility. The other theory is that what made my post so intolerable was that not only was I having problems on keto, but when I stopped keto and went to a rival church, I mean diet, in addition to making other important changes, of course, I started feeling way better immediately. To a moderator who is a keto cultist, my post may have been more offensive than the exceptions that I found. Nearly all of the posts in which people discussed problems with the keto diet took the form of people trying to solve the problem so that they could stay on keto. The biggest category was probably people dealing with early keto growing pains that are a necessary part of the process of getting onto keto. And most of the other problems were things for which there were good total or partial solutions to be offered that did not involve stopping keto. Again, it's like a religious community that is helping to allay the concerns of new members and discourage defection of long-term members who, are struggling in their faith. But when a person leaves the faith, finds a home in a rival faith, and comes back and reports great improvements to their mental and existential health, well, that might get you labeled a heretic, or to invoke Scientology once more, maybe it could get you labeled a suppressive person. Now, my research into this shows that this community does not seem to have a sort of complete impenetrable wall against any post talking about health risks of the diet. But between my experience and the rules prohibiting talking about other diets or leaving keto or asking how to leave keto, there really does seem to be serious cultish undertones in how this community is being administered. There is no reason why a post like mine should not have been allowed to remain. And there is no reason why a person shouldn't be able to seek guidance in getting off of the keto diet. The most common reason that people go on the diet is to lose weight. Once people get to their goal weight, some of them may want to return to a broader diet, but they will understandably want to minimize weight gain when they do so. Relevantly, a significant criticism of this diet is that while it's very effective in helping a person to lose weight, people often gain a lot of the weight back once they stop the diet. As such, it is completely reasonable that people looking to get off the diet would seek guidance on how to minimize post keto weight gain. And lastly, it is very concerning that they don't allow people to post about leaving the diet. If they can't post that they're leaving, then they can't tell readers why they are leaving. As such, this rule suppresses discussion of ways that this diet might be harming people. So the question remains, how many other negative experiences with keto has our keto not allowed people to discuss while within their corridors? If you're on the keto diet and are having problems with it, absolutely go to our keto to get guidance. But don't just go there. The only type of guidance that you are likely to get in our keto is guidance on how to help you stay on the diet despite the problem, how to address the problem from within keto, and so forth. But what if the diet actually isn't right for you? It's like, what if the best car for you is a Subaru Impreza? Well, you will never learn that if the only place you go is Toyota. Anyhow, that's it. And it's just a shame that this video needed to be made.